What's up, Amazon sellers? Maintaining good account health is key to avoiding warnings, account suspension, and possibly even losing your Amazon account. In this video today, I'm going to go through all about Amazon account health, what to look for, and some top tips for you to keep on the right side of selling on Amazon. Stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson. I've been selling on Amazon now, doing online arbitrage for the last 5 years. In the UK, I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller. Check this out. In the USA, I'm a 6-figure Amazon seller. Check this out. And in the near future, hopefully we're gonna launch into another marketplace. And if you're interested to learn what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and obviously what I'm sharing with you, then do make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. So first things first, what is Amazon account health? Well, the Amazon account health page, should we say, provides an overview of your selling, should we say, accounts adherence to performance targets and policies required to sell on Amazon. This is a section within Amazon Seller Central whereby Amazon displays all the metrics it uses to monitor you as a seller to assess your performance on how well you're selling on the Amazon marketplace. Now, this is made by Amazon to ensure that they are delivering a great experience for their customers, and also as well, you as third parties are obviously delivering that great customer experience as well to Amazon's customers. For you, you might be asking, how do I go about finding your Amazon account health? Well, to do this, let me give you a walkthrough by jumping on my computer now, and I'll show you my own Amazon account health. Okay, so here I am just logged into my Amazon Seller Central, and first things first, what you want to do is go up to the top right hand corner, or top left, sorry, and then come down to here. It's going to be under performance, and then find the account health. Let's click on that. So once you come in here, you're just going to come straight into the account health, and this is where you're going to see all the information about your account health and what you need to know in regards to selling on Amazon. Now, what I will say is always remember that your Amazon account health is like your life in Amazon. If you fail to maintain a good Amazon account health, then you can possibly lose your Amazon selling capability and ultimately your Amazon selling privileges. Now, on Amazon, there are, should we say, two different types of, should we say, fulfillment, getting products to our customers while selling on Amazon through the third-party marketplace. And for us, I'm going to break these into two, but you could be one or the other or both. So the first kind of seller or the type of, should we say, distribution is going to be under what's known as Fulfillment by Amazon or FBA program. Quite simply, these sellers are going to be using the Amazon fulfillment centers to prep and ship their products to their customers. Where the other type of seller, or should we say the other type of fulfillment program, and again, you can be both, is going to be FBM or fulfillment by merchant. Now, these are people who are going to be shipping their products to the customer directly and only using Amazon as their marketing platform, i.e. to list, but they're actually going to do the distribution, the shipping from their own prep center themselves or their own warehouse or even their house, not through Amazon's own warehouses. Now, why am I saying this? You might be asking. To maintain a good Amazon account health, third-party sellers must also monitor metrics which depend on the areas based on what they're doing. Okay, so this leads me nice on to the second chapter. What metrics should I pay attention to as an FBA or FBM seller, or obviously both? When you're looking at your Amazon account health, there are going to be certain metrics you need to keep an eye on, or should we say also monitor on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis to ensure that your account is in good standing and that Amazon is not worried about your ability to sell on their marketplace, i.e. your account health is going medium to poor. Now, having multiple complaints or having multiple problems with your account is likely to cause you problems, and this is going to lead to things such as account suspension and even potentially losing your Amazon selling privileges. Now, the one thing which I'll just kind of add to the side of this is that Amazon are really strict about not creating multiple selling accounts when it's against their terms of service. So you might have the thought process of, right now, if I mess it up, don't worry, I can just shut it down and create a new account. Well, unfortunately, Amazon will not let you do that. So you only get one account, one life. Make sure you look after it and monitor that account health carefully. Okay, so what are the things that we need to consider when selling on Amazon as both FBA and FBM? So all sellers on Amazon need to look at. Let's go through them now. Okay, first things first, number one, policy compliance. Quite simply, this is showing you how many violations or problems you've had with your account. Now, you want to keep this literally to 0 or as low as possible. Too many policy compliance warnings are going to bring your account health down from good to at risk to critical, which means that you are very high risk of getting your account suspended and even potentially losing your account if it's not dealt with quickly. So just be super mindful of keeping or making sure that your policy compliance is kept at a minimum, if not 0. Now, the second thing to think about is policy compliance requests. Quite simply, they ask you as a seller to provide compliance documents for the products you're selling. Most of the time, this happens when you are first selling an item, or maybe even afterwards. Amazon have known to do it. Now, these things such as product certificates, labels of conformity, or even declaration documents, these are the things that Amazon are going to ask you for. Now, quite simply, you're going to need to upload them and share them on Amazon, or with Amazon, should say, through Seller Central as quickly as possible. Now, I'm not saying that if you're going to miss one, it's going to be the end of the world, but it might be the case that if you're repeatedly missing them, then it could have a negative effect on your account health. So ideally, get them filled out, get the documentation to Amazon that they're asking for, so that obviously they're showing that you're working with them, and obviously you can keep selling your products. You might be asking, why do they ask these things? Well, basically, they want to make sure that the products that you're offering and they're selling on their marketplace are safe. Also, Amazon wants to make sure that you're selling compliant products that are within the regulations, so those documents share with Amazon, make sure that you are showing that, and obviously keep your account health and your good account metrics in good standing. Okay, so today I'm talking about account health, and the question I want to ask you is, what is your account health like? Is it green? Is it yellow? Is it red? Let me know in the comments down below. And are you worried about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so this leads me nicely onto my third chapter. What metrics should I pay attention to as an FBM seller? For each one of these things that I'm going to go through now, what I'll say is that multiple cases of each one of these metrics or fail to reach the target may lead to possible suspension. So just be careful. And what I'm saying is that one in isolation of a high rank or a high problem, or small problems across the board could lead to suspension. So again, just try and always work on these. First things first, number one, order defect rate. Now, the target for this is to get you below or keep it below 1%. Now, quite simply, order defect rate is for any orders you've had over the last 60 days where there's been a problem raised by the customer. There are three things Amazon monitors as part of the order defect rate. These are the negative feedback rate, the A to Z guarantee rate, claim rate, and then finally the credit card chargeback rate. So these three things are going to go into the order defect rate. Now, the one thing which I will say is if that climbs above 1%, then obviously there's going to be a problem, because that is a target Amazon wants you to stay below. So just be mindful of that and obviously monitor it. Now, the second one for you to think about is dispatch rate. Now, this is a number of orders which are dispatched and past their expected dispatch date. Now, Amazon monitors this on a 10-day rolling basis and a 30-day rolling basis. Basically, they're looking for you to achieve under a 4% dispatch rate. And if you go over 4%, then there is going to be a problem. So stay under that 4% dispatch rate, and generally you're going to be fine. So just be aware of that. Now, the third one to think about is the return dissatisfaction rate. Now, quite simply, this is the rate at which customers are not happy with their return experience. Basically, you want to keep this below 10% of all your returns, and this is just an ongoing measure of Amazon doing its part on your Amazon account. Now, quite simply, two things that are going to affect with you in your return dissatisfaction rate. First is incorrectly denying a return when Amazon later then overturns that and obviously authorizes the return of the customer's product or your product from the customer. And second is not getting back to the customer within 48 hours of all return requests. Now, what you've got to do is keep on top of these things, and you've got to make sure that you keep your RDR or return dissatisfaction rate down, and obviously you're not going to get any alerts on that. Now, the fourth thing you want to consider is the cancellation rate. This is the metric or the measure of the total number of cancellations you've had over the last 7 days. Quite simply, you want to keep this below 2.5%. Now, the fifth thing you want to think about as an FBM is valid tracking rate. This is about ensuring that you are adding and including a valid tracking number on all your shipments. Now, Amazon monitors these over a 30-day rolling period. Quite simply, you need to ensure that you are getting over 95% of the tracking numbers in your shipments are correct. So keep it above 95% and you're fine, or anything below that, you've got a problem. Now, the sixth thing is delivery rate. Now, quite simply, this is Amazon tracking all of your orders to ensure they arrive on or before the estimated delivery date when the customer placed the order. Now, 97% of all your orders need to be delivered on or before the delivery date for all the shipments you do as an FBM seller. So quite simply, those are the things that you need to monitor as an FBM seller to make sure your account remains, or your account health remains, in good standing. Now, if you're an FBA seller, then obviously you don't need to worry about those things because these are all monitored automatically or controlled by Amazon through the FBA program, and obviously those metrics are solely for merchant fulfilled or FBM. So this leads me nicely on the fourth chapter: when will Amazon suspend your account? So this is probably one of the most asked questions. Am I going to get suspended? When will it happen? What's the leeway I have? And quite simply, the answer is there is no hard or fast answer. There is no clear definition, and nor does Amazon release any clear guidance or notices of if you do this, you will get suspended. It's basically based on a number of factors that Amazon looks at, and quite simply, they try to communicate that to you through the account health. So it's not super clear, but the account health is going to be the guide for you to look at. But what I want to go through now is there's a couple of things you want to be really aware of as an FBA or FBM seller, or both, that is going to help you to say when you're likely to get into some problems that are likely to cause you suspension within Amazon. So let's kind of go through them now. So if you're an FBM seller, fulfillment by merchant, obviously shipping the products yourself, you really want to be looking at the core metrics. So we're looking really at the product policy compliance, but also around those metrics we talked earlier. Really looking at that, that's going to be something that I would be watching all the time. Now, just to recap what they are the order defect rate, cancellation rate, the late dispatch rate. Those three metrics are the ones that really want to focus on because they are the most common reasons why people get their account suspended as an FBM seller. Now, it's not to say that the other ones aren't important, but they're the ones that you're most likely going to run into problems with. So I'd be really on top of checking those, and obviously the ones that people have problems with. So keep an eye on them. Now, the other one you want to consider when you are also an FBM seller is quite simply getting multiple violations across the board. And it might be the case that no one individually is that bad, but when you add them all together, they really do stack up. Amazon adds a certain amount of weight to each one, and while no individual one might be too much, the accumulation of them all does cause a problem, and it could very likely lead to account suspension. So just be aware, really do keep an eye on all of them. And obviously this suspension can lead to Amazon investigating, looking into your account, seeing what's happening while you're creating a plan of action as well. So don't just think, oh, no one's really bad. It's got to be across the board. We're at a pretty good standard. Now, this leads me on to, if you are an FBM seller, what do you want to be thinking about for Amazon suspending your account? Well, quite simply, whether you're an FBA or even FBM seller, these things are going to be very relevant to you, but let's kind of go through them now. Now, quite simply, looking at the policy compliance section is something you want to be staring at a lot, or should I say looking at a lot. Now, obviously for you, what you're going to be thinking about is ideally you don't want to get any one policy compliance, area with a really high number, but also as well across the board, you don't want, a small amount across all of them because they do add up and they do cause problems. Now, the one thing which I will say also in addition to this is that we have seen revenue has an effect on this. So if I were to give you an example, if you're a brand new seller and you were to get 1 or 2 IP complaints, you might be suspended because of that. Now, let's say, for example, if you're a bigger seller, like myself, maybe you're doing 7 figures, then we can get 5, 6, 7, and our account health will still be green, but it might obviously cause a problem later on. But what I have seen is that newer sellers can get fewer complaints across the board, whereas larger sellers can get more and still remain selling. So just be mindful of that. Now, obviously that is the same for FBM and FBA. So either looking at any one individual things like IP complaints, don't get too many, or lots across the board, i.e. IP complaints, received intellectual property complaints, listing policy violations, just be very mindful of that as well. The other one which I will say is if potentially you get a feedback from a customer whereby there is authenticity complaints, or maybe there's a problem with the product and you're unable to provide documentation, Amazon might treat this quite seriously, i.e. like you are actually selling fakes, and suspend your account that way, even with a low number. So when you're getting document requests in regards to complaints, particularly around the customer and product authenticity and how the products are, then I would also treat them very seriously. Okay, so today I am talking about health, Amazon account health, and selling on Amazon. Now, the one thing which I'll say is maybe you're looking to get started, or perhaps you have just got started selling on Amazon. Maybe you're not sure of everything you need to do. Well, the one thing which I will say is myself, I've been selling now for 5 years, and obviously we've grown 2 businesses to over 6 figures, one of them 7 figures. We certainly learn a lot. Now, a lot of people are interested in learning the basics and, or to say, even recapping the basics. And if you are interested in doing that, then do check out the FastTrackFBA Express course. It's a free course I created whereby we teach you everything you need to know from getting started right through to selling on Amazon, all the sourcing techniques in 7 days. Really good, and it really helps you out just refreshing the basics and getting started if that's where you are. I'll drop a link down below, but have a look at the FastTrackFBA Express course. Now, this leads me nicely onto my 5th chapter, some top tips for you about, should we say, when your account is suspended and what to do. So first things first, number 1, I'd say just be very careful and take your time. Always remember to not panic, but also though, do take this very seriously. Now, what's going to happen is Amazon is going to reach out to you, generally through email, and they're going to tell you your account is suspended. And they're probably going to ask you to write what's known as a plan of action. Now, I'd really recommend that you read this email like 5 times at least, going into the detail and really trying to get to grips about what they're trying to ask of you in that plan of action. Now, a top tip I'd really recommend is actually to go get some expert advice. They deal with IP complaints, or should you say suspensions. They can really help. Now, there are a lot of companies out there who do provide services for this. Now, another thing is there are a lot of sellers who have gone through the same experience and also come out the other end. So I'd really recommend reaching out to those other sellers, people who know what they're doing, and maybe asking for their support and advice, and obviously sharing with you what you don't know, and obviously they can help you. Now, the second thing I'll say for you is do not rush to submit a response. We all have a tendency to read it and to say, right, let's get a quick reply, get it done and get back selling. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work. Now, the one thing I would really say with Amazon is they're only going to let you submit a certain number of responses, after which time they just say, no, sorry, we're closing the case. You sent back too many replies and we're not happy. So be careful, don't spam them back. It's not good practice. Now, if you are interested in maybe getting some professional help, what I'll do is I'll drop a link down below to our tools page, which I talk about all the tools, all the software we use, but also the people we use to help us with IP complaints when we get them. And obviously you too can access them as well. So have a look down below to our FastTrackFBA tools page. That's fasttrackfba.com/tools. And obviously you can see all the tools and the people we use to support us with IP complaints on a professional level. Now, what I will say is maintaining a good account health is not easy, and adding to this, having a good IPI score is super important. Now, what I'll do is leave a video around here about how to increase your IPI score, which is going to help you with your inventory, also shipping in more products, and obviously decreasing your fees for like long-term storage and lots of other things. So do check that out. Now, what I will say is hopefully you like this video. If you have, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.